a Splitgate How to Portal 101, and how to use portals guide so that you can absolutely annihilate, decimate, and eradicate every single player in your path. Ladies and gents, my name is Xander, aka Diaside, and in this video it's all about how to use portals, baby. And I'm telling you right now from first-hand experience that these tips are absolutely essential to use, especially if you want to play ranked, but of course they're going to come in handy in casual as well. In short, I got 6 examples. They're going to be broken down step by step so that you can see them in real time as well as rewound and then in slow motion to really break everything down so that we're all on the exact same page and you can replicate these maneuvers the exact same way. At first, it might seem a little complex, but don't worry, I got your back, my friends, and so the only thing you have to do is just to simply sit back, relax, eviscerate that like button for the YouTube algorithm, grab that Mountain Dew, and let's jump right into the video. The very first example that I've got for you is one that I like to call Portal Loop. And pretty much what it is you're going to start in one location, go to a separate location, and then finish the entire maneuver in the first location that you were just at, all within using just 3 portals. What exactly do I mean? Well, here we see ourselves in this example on Simulation Bravo. As we can tell, I fire one portal, a second portal, then drop down. See a guy, chase him, try and hunt him down, but then his buddy gets in the way, I try to take him on the process, I do so. I fire my other portal, come up on the top, see this guy completely unsuspecting, finish that guy off, and we get the round W. As I rewind this and play in slow motion one more time, the whole key principle behind this is the setup. Before the engagement ever began, I placed 2 portals, one to my left and one to my right before I ever dropped down, and as soon as I did so, I then knew that I had 1 or 2 locations to pop out of, which I could then choose at a later time to go ahead and say to retreat or to go ahead and attack. In this instance, I wanted to attack and thus call it the portal loop, and thus we began the second phase of this attack, coming up from top of where we initially were, then finishing off that last guy, piece of cake. Taking one tiny step back, you might notice that I used the word retreat. Now don't worry, I'll come to that example in a little bit, as we're certainly going to cover this as it's very similar to this one that we just found, but one that's actually even more similar to the one that you guys just saw is one that I like to call the gravity loop. The game developers did a marvelous job here in that the physics of this game is very relative to how gravity actually works. And so as you're going through one portal into the next, your momentum is then going to shift you into the next portal, pushing you greater distances than what you normally could if you were to only do one portal. When you chain portals back to back, that momentum shift is going to be colossal, and we're going to see this right now. On this map called Foregone Destruction, I place one portal at the bottom and one portal at the top. I then go to the very top of the portals, and thus on top of the towers, and as you see from right here, I'm jumping down. I then place my other portal that I just used. Boom! I shoot out like a cannon, go to the very top of the tower, happen to get this guy, ciao, adios, bye-bye, peekaboo, and then finally this guy as well. Got a bye shot on him, 2 bye shots on this guy, and that's the end of the engagement. As I rewind that and play in slow motion one more time, you're going to realize that initially it all comes down to the setup once again. I had to go ahead and use my first 2 portals to get to the very top of the tower. But once I was at the top of the tower, I then dropped down, used my gravity, aka my momentum, to then push me through the second portal, or rather the third portal, pushing me then through the 4th portal, which was still my second portal, and that then catapulted me to the very top of the overall tower, which you can't actually get to unless you do this mechanic. Remember what I said from earlier, the physics of this game carries your momentum and your gravity through these portals, and so this can be used not just in this case, but in a wide variety of cases, and this is just showcasing one of those types of cases. And having covered these first 2 examples, or rather what I like to call the loop examples, the next couple of examples are going to be used in a hyper-aggressive format, aka a hyper-aggressive playstyle, and the first one that we're going to see is called the Teleportal example. Right off the bat, we find ourselves on Simulation Bravo. I place both of my 2 portals, teleport to the other side of the map, use my portals once again to teleport behind these guys, I jump through that portal, get that guy, the second guy completely unsuspecting, and finish on the third guy just like that, again, a marvelous triple kill. Now I know that was very fast, so I'm going to rewind that and play in slow motion one more time, and so the first thing that you're going to notice is that I use the same mechanic twice. I place one portal, a second portal, use those first 2 portals to teleport myself to the top of the engagement, then use 2 more portals, the 3rd and 4th portal, to actually get behind the enemy players. One guy was actually suspecting that, I took him out first, then took out the second guy completely unsuspecting, and the third guy was already damaged, so all I had to simply do was just get a couple body shots, bada bing bada boom, ciao, adios, bye-bye. The key takeaway here is that these portals are used to teleport you from one place to the next. They're not meant to be anything more or anything less. They're simply meant to get you from one location to the next, so then you don't actually have to run from one place to the next, and this is much faster. If you can get to enemy locations before they can and gain the map control, you're going to put yourself and also your team in a much greater advantage to win that round, as well as the overall engagements that are going to ensue. Now I want you to recall our very first engagement. That very first engagement that we had was called the Loop Portal, and in that case we made a maneuver that was going to attack. But this next one is going to be almost identical to that, but instead we're going to retreat, or rather what I like to call the Fake Out Portal. Once again we have to find ourselves on Simulation Bravo via takedown. So I place one portal, two portals, teleport myself to this location, see a portal right there, try and attack some guys. I put in some damage on a couple guys right there, but then realized that I'm almost one shot, so I used that third portal that I used to retreat, go ahead and get some health back, take out a second guy, make sure that I move up to take out the next player, and sure enough there he is, and that covers the entire engagement. Rewind this one more time and play in slow motion. What you're going to realize is that just like always, I have my first two portals that are the setup. The first two portals are going to teleport me to the actual location that I need to be in, but then that third portal is then going to link me back to my overall original starting point, or rather my spawn point location, and that's why I then use as a backup, just in case I got one shot from taking out one player, or maybe I took out two players and then I had to retreat, or in this case, I took out no players but got damage in lots of them and still had to retreat because I was one shot, and thus you saw the engagement that ensued. There is nothing wrong with retreating as long as you're making sure that you're going to come back to the gunfight at a different angle of perspective, and that's exactly what happened right here. My angle of attack was completely unsuspecting from the second player that was already weak. I took him out, got my health back in the process, got the next guy, and there is no doubt in my mind that you can do this just the same. Now the next example that we got is somewhat similar and yet somewhat dissimilar, as we're going to be using the exact same mechanics that we've already used from before, but in this instance, we're not actually going to use the portals to travel through, and rather we're going to use them to shoot our bullets through them, aka what I like to call the bullet portals. In this particular example, I've just spawned and placed my first portal and my second portal at the very top. Use those two to teleport. I see a guy down there at the bottom, he's also damaged, he's running away. I place two more portals, shoot through them, get this guy. See the next guy also running away, place two more portals, shoot through them once again, and then get the following guy, bada bing, bada boom, ciao. As I rewind this engagement one more time and break it down in slow motion, you're going to realize that once again I used that very simple mechanic of teleportation portals to go ahead and put me from one place to the next. I then saw what my teammate was doing, and in this case he was retreating. So I went ahead and placed a portal in the area that I was coming from, placed a portal next to me as well so that I could see exactly where they were coming from and rather shoot from behind them, and lo and behold I got that very first player down no problem. As soon as that player was down, I pushed through that portal, saw that the other player was actually retreating, so I did the exact same thing, once again getting a different angle of perspective, attacking them from that perspective, shooting through the portal, and you know the end conclusion. These types of portal maneuvers are very easy to do, and the only thing that distinguishes you to be able to do them and not be able to do them is simply paying attention to what enemy players are doing as well as your teammates. Now the very last example that I want to show you is something so simplistic that everybody can do this right off the bat, and it's what I like to call the Peekaboo Portal. What do I mean by this? Well, you're going to see that I place a portal right next to me on the cube and then one at the very top of the tower. As I do so, I crouch and then gradually inch forward to be so that I'm actually outside the portal, but rather I'm in the perspective at the very top of the tower. And this is very important to know because then I'm able to have a phenomenal angle of attack and be able to rain death from above via this carbon, not just getting one player, but two players. I'll rewind that one more time and play it in real time because to be honest, this thing is so simplistic that it doesn't need to be slowed down. In my perspective, I find this Peekaboo Portal tactic to be the most effective whenever you have maps that have many angles of elevation. In this particular case, that's exactly what we had, but this can be used in every single game mode like Takedown, Domination, SWAT, Team Deathmatch, you name it, it can be done as long as you happen to have at least a little bit of separation between the elevations. With this, I think it's safe to say that you guys now have a very firm understanding as to how portals function in Splitgate. They can be used in a wide variety of ways, and trust me when I say this, I only showed you probably about 25% of the ways in which these things can be actually used. They can be used in a wide variety of situations and a lot more simplistic, and in most cases, much more complex maneuvers, especially when you're chaining these things from portal to portal. Remember that gravity loop that I said from earlier? Imagine that gravity loop in conjunction with something like a fake out portal, or maybe in conjunction with another teleport portal. The possibilities here are endless, and so to you I say, what did you think? Did this help? Did it not? If it helped, then by all means, tell me how it did so down in the comment section below, and also note that I'm 110% going to be making a separate movement video, so then you can really see as to how I'm maneuvering around the map and going from location to location, not just with the portals, but actually skipping, aka Titan scaling from Destiny 2, as well as a couple other tactics in regards to melees and so on and so forth. If that piques your interest, then stay tuned, and no matter what you guys say, you always know that I'm going to respect your opinions, and that is something that I can guarantee. That's pretty much all I've got for you guys right now, Diaslayers, and so as always, GG TNT.